Cool. All right. Welcome, everybody. It's April 14th. This is the Cluster API for Azure Office Hours meeting. We do this every 2 weeks. We're part of the umbrella organization, SIG Cluster Lifecycle. And as such, as part of the Kubernetes world, we follow the standard Kubernetes community guidelines, which essentially you can read about them in the document, but essentially boils down to let's not interrupt each other and everybody be kind and try and use the raise your hand feature in Zoom so that we don't accidentally stomp on each other. Beyond that, that's most of the intro stuff. If you have a second, please add your name to the attendees list here, just so people can put names to faces in the future. Do we have anyone who's here for the first time who wants to just say hi and why they're here? I'll just be quiet for a minute if you want to unmute. Everybody looks pretty familiar to me, but you never know. Go ahead.
I'm somewhat new. I'm Evan Freed. I'm here with Elastic. We're just exploring Cluster API just for building Kubernetes regions and multi-cloud providers. So we're kind of starting with Azure since that seems to be one that is further along, at least from our testing. So we're pretty excited to explore it, and I'm just learning a lot as I just drink from a fire hose here.
Awesome. Welcome, Evan. Cool. I guess that's it for new folks. So we can move on to open discussion, I guess. I put the first thing in here. Meghana, I'm glad you're here because this is super annoying, probably to you as well. But it looks like we went ahead and merged the API diff, or I went ahead and merged the API diff change, and then in practice, it's not working right. So I guess we need to revert it today. I mean,
do we want to share? Do we want to share the?
Sure. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I should be sharing the document this whole time.
Thing you're talking about. Yeah.
I should have started by sharing the document. Does that look? You guys see this my screen?
Looks great.
Okay. This here 2206. We took a lot of time, we thought, to get it correct. And then in practice, it looks like it's not. Once we merged it, I created this other PR. Jack had a great suggestion. We should always do something like this. Make sure it's actually working. So I created a silly PR that should be listed in here somewhere. There it is. And I ran it, and then the API, and it should have told us that it found a few files that I changed, but it didn't. So something went wrong. And I'm not entirely sure why. So I guess we should go ahead and revert this so we have some more time to figure out why, because this isn't system critical or anything. I just want to put that out there. The other approach we could take perhaps is just let it sit and try and figure it out without reverting it. The danger is, of course, somebody makes a PR that actually changes something in API or EXP API before we figure it out, and then that doesn't get checked. So I guess I'll make a revert PR unless someone else wants to take a different approach. Cecile, go ahead.
Yeah, just +1 for revert, unless there's a very obvious fix that we can just make quickly to fix it. That would be as quick as reverting. But I'm kind of surprised because I had tested it locally when we were debating which pattern to use, and it was working locally. So I'm not sure what's going on.
Yeah, I saw the same thing. I tested it locally and it looked like it was fine. But I don't know. So
can we look in the logs from the remote testing and see if it's using like different commands or different version or different environment? Like there's probably something different. We just don't know exactly what it is.
There's obviously something different. Yeah. The only output we get is on this job itself. You can look at the API diff job, and it succeeded, which it probably should have anyway. But she changed it so that this is super useful. Now we know it didn't. Basically the regular expression didn't match any files, and I don't understand why not. So So I guess we'll revert it. And Meghana, I don't know if you're even want to work on this anymore because it's been a couple of weeks, but that's where it's at.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, yeah, we can revert it, and I'll test different solutions, or stick to the first thing that we added in the grep.
That one did seem to work. I'm not really sure what the difference is with this, but okay. Anyway, sorry about all the hassles.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, unless anyone else has any comments about 2206. Cecile, you want to talk about managed cluster reconcile? We just need to review your PR, I'm sure.
Yeah, this should be a quick one. I just want to say, please review my PR if you have time. It's a really big one, but basically what this is doing is we've refactored most of the services over the past several months to change to an async model where we don't block on reconcile to move on in the controller, so we can get like more quick feedback to the user about what's going on. And so this is basically applying the same changes to the managed cluster service, which is a little bigger and has been doing things a little differently than we were in other services. So did some small refactors here and there to make it kind of follow what we were doing in other places. And then the two kind of side refactors that happen in here is that I split up the managed machine pool and the managed control plane scope. That's the file you're looking at here, because it used to be in one big file. So I just created two different files. And then I also moved a bunch of validation that was happening directly in the controller at the webhook level, so that we were validating when things were created rather than as they were reconciling.
Cool. Yeah, we should. I'll try to make some time today to finally look at this. And anyone else who's interested, it's a pretty big refactor.
So I have a question about that actually.
Oh,
Is that
sorry, go
a
ahead, Bridget.
test? Sorry, is that, Cecile, is that a test flake on that PR, or is there something else going on with the way you're refactoring that the test?
You mean the fact that it's red? That's actually
I'm just looking at the
that one I need to
full
look
cluster
into.
API provider Azure E2E EXP.
Yeah,
I was just wondering
that's
what you think that is.
That's the AKS test, so I need to look at why it failed. I think I pushed something last night that might have broken it. So I'll take a look.
Okay.
Thanks for noticing that. Yeah, that one should not be failing. We definitely want that one passing for the PR to merge.
Cool. Yeah, I know sometimes when we're making these big changes, also something is going to have to change in the test, but I didn't see it noted one way or the other. So.
No, this is probably some small thing that I changed that broke it based on a PR comment.
Cool, thank you.
All right. Any other comments about that, other than please take a look if you have time? Cool. We don't have anything else on the agenda, but maybe should mention, I see Ashutosh couldn't make it to the meeting, but that's because he's busy with some presentation about CAPZ, which is great. So I'll post that. I'll put that in the agenda here just so people can follow up. Does anybody else have anything they want to ask, bring up? This is open time for everybody. There you go. Thank you very much. No, if we don't have anything else, I guess we can keep it short.
I actually have something. I thought I saw that we were moving, I think it's the machine pool stuff ahead. Unrelated conversation happened to have somebody asking me about that. And
The machine pool machines stuff in CAPZ?
Yeah. I'm just wondering if that has any specific CAPZ specific things happening, or is it just happening in upstream CAPI?
It's happening in upstream CAPI. It's moving slower than we wanted, but that's mostly because people are asking really good questions about the design, and I'm having to address those questions. But I think we're all converging on a consensus pretty quick here. I have implementations of the proposal that work for Docker in CAPI and also for CapZ. CapZ, we kind of forged ahead like AWS also did and implemented Azure machine pool machine resources. So when you have a machine pool, we actually have native resources that map to each instance, even though there isn't a representation of the same thing at the CAPI level. So so one way to look at it is Azure and AWS all kind of forged ahead, and now they're going to glue their existing implementations back into the kind of unified idea of machine pool machines. But I don't think that'll be a lot of work. In fact, I've already done that for Azure. So yeah, so TLDR, the actual code that implements all this should land in a month, hopefully not any longer than that because it's close to going.
Okay, awesome.
But in terms of CAPI's code base, actually, there's not a drastic number of changes because we already have a resource that needs to be implemented, and it's just changing. It's not a huge PR, so it won't be that bad.
Great, fantastic.
AWS, I don't know yet. I should have done the research, but it could be trivial. It could be a huge amount of work. I don't know.
Great. And it's always a good thing when somebody says, this thing that you're doing, how is it going? I want it. So
yeah, no, that's great. I know a lot of people will want this.
awesome.
Cool. Any other comments or questions about CAPC or CAPI or anything? I'll take that as a no. Cool. All right. We'll call that a day, and we'll see everybody back here in a couple weeks. Thanks.
Thank you.